Welcome back to the Evan Phillips Show. I really appreciate the comments and the views on the video about credit cards. So let's get right into our next topic, which is how do I get good credit, or how do I increase my credit score, or I want to do all of these things, right? So I'm going to keep it short today, but there will be many videos on this topic just because it is such a huge topic to discuss. But I'm going to start where I think people who are looking to get out of a situation with credit, or they want to be able to do things like we talked about earlier, like purchase a home or buy a new vehicle. These are things that are going to be critical. Nowadays, credit is even used for employment. So you may lose a job or an employment opportunity due to your credit, which is just something you don't want to do. Let's go over some of these things now. The first thing that I would have you do is I would not apply for any credit cards. I wouldn't apply for any loans. I wouldn't apply for any store cards. Just stop. Don't do anything right now, because you're just going to add more insult to injury. The first thing you want to do is go and get your credit report. Now, our government gives us free credit reports on all three bureaus that anyone can check at any time. So if you haven't done yours yet this year, I'm going to post a link to that down in the description here. There are a lot of sites out there, so I figured I would just put it in the link to keep down on confusion, because not everything is legit out there. This is the first place I would have you start, because this is going to give you not your FICO scores or credit scores. This will give you the overall credit report. So a credit report usually has things like you had a T-Mobile that you didn't pay, or you had that Sprint bill that you didn't pay, or you have this one card that you made 2 payments on. So all of those sort of things are going to be on your credit report. So the first thing you want to do is get that and find out where you are. The second thing I would recommend is getting your FICO scores. Knowing what your FICO score is super important. Now, there's so much to go over, guys, that I'm not going to be able to do it all in this video, but I'm going to give you some tips here. So with your FICO, I personally use myfico.com. I'm also going to post that down in the description here. Completely worth it. I've been using it for years. And we can go into more depth about the FICO and credit and all that, which we will. But right now, for number 2, that's what I would recommend you do. Once you get those 2 things in order and you've reviewed your credit report and you can see all the decisions you've made financially, I want you to stop right there, because a lot of credit is about your mentality and how you approach it, right? So the more you apply for things when your credit is not where it needs to be, you're just going to continue to dig deeper holes for yourself, because you're going to get declined and then declined and then declined. And the worst feeling is walking into a dealership or trying to get a new credit card or whatever it might be and not knowing what's going to happen. So I want you to be able to feel confident when you go into a dealership, or you go into pick up a new credit card or whatever it may be, or go to a new job. I want you to feel confident in being able to know that it's not a matter of if but when for you. So now let's talk about credit bureaus. There's 3 credit bureaus. There's TransUnion, there's Equifax, then there's Experian. So those are the 3 main credit bureaus. Credit cards, auto loans, mortgage payments get reported to monthly. So anytime you make a payment, let's say that you got that Best Buy credit card we talked about, right? And you bought that new 80-inch TV that you wanted so bad. Now you got to pay for it. So on time. When you make that payment, what's going to happen is, let's say that Best Buy uses TransUnion. Well, they're going to report, hey, so-and-so made this payment on time. Boom, here's the date that they made it, and here was the due date. A good mark on your credit report. So we talked about that in our last video. You're going to want to do that a lot. And the reason is, lenders want to see that you're responsible. They want to make sure they're going to lend to someone who's going to be responsible and make payments. If a credit union or a bank or whoever they may be is going to lend you something, they want to know that you are going to repay the obligation. Just think about it. If you were to let someone in your house and they were going to stay for a week, you want to make sure that you put the type of person in your home who's going to take care of it the way that you would. So that's the same concept with your credit. and loans and lending. They want to know that you're going to make these payments on time and that you're going to pay back the obligation. Now, the MyFICO that I shared there will allow you to review and monitor on a regular basis your FICO scores on all three bureaus, so TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. In addition to that, on your monthly report, you can also get your FICO scores. Great. Now that we're talking about FICO, what's the difference between a FICO and a credit score? What is all this nonsense that these people are talking about? Everyone's saying, I use Credit Karma, I use Credit Guru, whatever. Everybody's using Credit Wise or these other things. So here is the difference between your FICO score and a credit score. Okay, so let's talk about the word FICO. F-I-C-O stands for Fair Isaac Corporation. So this is one of the most commonly used methods to get an idea of where you stand. So it's the most commonly used system throughout this country, right? Most lenders, most credit unions, banks, etc. are going to look at this. And there are different variations within the FICO. 90% of lenders are going to look at a FICO. Now, there are other systems out there like a credit score and Vantage scores and these other scores, but they're not widely used. So this is what you want to really focus in on. So now we know a few things on how to build credit, right? We know that we need to make payments on time. We know that we have to use under 30% of our revolving lines of credit, which we'll get into those things later. But what else can you do, right? So there's a lot of things you can do. So let's talk about a secured and unsecured, right? So a secured credit card is something where you are actually going to put your own money on a credit card or towards a credit card. And the bank is going to say, okay, give us $300. We'll give you a credit card with a $300 balance. The risk is lower and it's secured with the $300 that you gave the financial institution. So that's a secured credit card. Now, if you get a good secured credit card, they're going to report to all three bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, sometimes even twice a month. So if you think about that, you're getting 6 reports a month on one credit card to show your on-time payments. Now, there are other ways. You can get a secured CD. This is a little bit advanced. Basically, to sum it up, is you can make payment towards your own money to get credit, and then you get that money back after a specific time frame. These are some of the things you want to start with. So number one, remember, get your credit report. Know where you stand. Know what's on your credit report. Number two, know your FICO score, what it is, and where you stand. This is before you do anything else. When you look at your credit report, you're going to see all these things. Your next question is, well, what do I do? How do I pay these things off? You know, there's a collection on there. There might be a judgment. There could be all these different things against you on your credit. Credit is very complex. Some things you have to look at. If it's something recent, my advice would be to pay that off. If it's a Sprint bill and it's $80, pay it off. You owe the money anyway. Just pay it off. In some cases, even if it's a discrepancy, it's not worth hurting your credit. Those things stay on your report for a long time, and it hurts your credit overall. And when you go to get a new vehicle or whatever it is you're looking to do, when you're looking to buy a house, you're not going to care about that $83 that you owe T-Mobile. So take care of it. Now, there are some things that may be further along the way on your credit, things from, back in the days that you just never took care of. Now, there's a thing called a statute of limitations, and it varies by state. So you want to look at your state's statute of limitations. And basically what a statute of limitations is, it's a certain amount of time that this can stay on your report. So let's say that 7 years ago or 8 years ago, you had this auto loan and you didn't pay it or whatever, something bad happened with it. You could actually have that removed from your report, not paying it off, right? So if you call the bureau and say, hey, this was 10 years ago, it's still in my credit report, they will remove it. Number two, if you have things on your credit report that are not yours, right? So this is another reason it's so important to look at your credit report on a regular basis. If you see that someone opened an account and you're not the one who opened the account, you need to act on that immediately, right? So your credit is something you have to fight over. Let me ask you a question. When is the last time someone called you and said, hey, your credit score just went down? It never happens. Only you can control your credit, and only you can monitor it. So my advice is take control of your credit, monitor it, know what's going on first, just like your health. If there's something going on with you, no one's going to know that but yourself. So you have to take that initiative. It's about your mindset. Don't apply for anything. I know there's things you need to do in life, but just pause for right now. Don't add any more insult to injury. So I hope that these things help you guys with just this beginning portion. We will get into topics like, how do I purchase a home or a vehicle? So if you guys really want to hear more on that topic, let me know in the comments below if that's something you really, really want to know about. But I figured we need to talk about this first, because without these fundamental things being done, purchasing a home is only going to be that much more difficult. So definitely take these things into consideration and make it your #1 priority, guys. So I hope that helps you guys understand just some of the basics of having good credit and how do I get to that point where, I can go out and get things. Now, credit does take time depending on how bad you have messed it up, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. Anyone can fix their credit. It's not an if, it's just a when, right? So take initiative, work on your credit, get these tools. If you have questions about these things you get, let's say you pull your credit and you don't know what to do next, leave a comment. I'll help you walk through that process. And there's also help out there to help you guys get through that too. So don't give up. You can accomplish your goals. You can accomplish your dreams. You just have to work on them. And sometimes it's the information that really helps you to make that difference. So I hope this video has helped you guys once again, and leave a comment in the description below as far as what you need help with or what it is you're going through financially that you would like to get assistance with. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Evan Phillips Show. You have a great rest of your day.